Baseball has spent over a century defining the limits of human possibility. For decades, the sport existed in a state of rigid specialization. You were either a master of the mound, dictating the game with lethal velocity, or you were a titan in the batter's box, shattering records with brute force. The idea that one man could conquer both universes was dismissed as a relic of a forgotten era. Then came Shohei Ohtani. Yet, on a humid afternoon in South Florida, the narrative shifted from what he could accomplish across a career to what a single human being could achieve in just 9 innings. It was a day when the boundaries of the sport did not just bend, they completely evaporated. To truly understand the weight of September 19th, 24, you have to understand the immense pressure building over the preceding 6 months. Ohtani had signed a historic $700 million contract with the Los Angeles Dodgers, carrying the expectations of 2 nations on his shoulders. But fate had thrown a devastating curveball. A major elbow surgery meant he couldn't pitch a single baseball all season. For any other two-way phenomenon, losing half of your identity would be crippling. For Ohtani, it became a catalyst. He channeled every ounce of his supernatural athleticism into a singular, unprecedented pursuit. He wanted to achieve what no player in the history of Major League Baseball had ever done: hit 50 home runs and steal 50 bases in a single season. As the Dodgers arrived at Lone Depot Park to face the Miami Marlins, the baseball world was entirely focused on Ohtani. He sat at 48 home runs and 49 stolen bases. History was close, but history is notoriously stubborn. The tension in the stadium was palpable, even with a modest crowd in attendance. Everyone knew they were watching a countdown, but nobody could have predicted that the countdown would explode into the greatest offensive display the sport had ever witnessed. The masterclass began the moment Ohtani stepped into the batter's box in the top of the first inning. Facing Miami starter Edward Cabrera, Ohtani looked entirely locked in. He drove a sharp double deep into the right field corner, instantly putting himself in scoring position. But he wasn't content just standing at second base. Minutes later, with a burst of explosive acceleration, Ohtani took off for third. The throw from the catcher was swift, but Ohtani slid in safely, his foot capturing his 5th stolen base of the year. The first half of the impossible equation was complete. The crowd erupted, sensing that the night was already special. In the top of the second inning, the momentum only grew. With a runner on base, Ohtani lined a sharp single to right field, driving in a run. Now standing at first, he didn't hesitate. On the very next pitch, he bolted for second, easily sliding under the tag for his 51st stolen base of the season. He was moving with a relentless, terrifying efficiency. By the time the third inning arrived, the Marlins were struggling to find answers. With the bases loaded, Ohtani stepped up again and slashed a ferocious double into the left center field gap. 2 more runs crossed the plate. He was 3 for 3 with 3 runs batted in, and the game was only 1/3 of the way through. The stadium was buzzing, but the ultimate prize, the home runs, still elated him. The true turning point arrived in the top of the 6th inning. The Dodgers held a comfortable lead, but Ohtani was still chasing the ghost of number 49. Miami reliever George Soriano caught the worst of Ohtani's focus. Soriano fired a pitch, trying to catch the inside corner, but Ohtani extended his massive arms and connected. The sound off the bat was distinct, a loud, echoing crack that reverberated through the open-air stadium. The ball traveled 438 feet, deep into the second deck of the right center field stands. It was his 49th home run of the year. He was now just 1 swing away from the promised land. The atmosphere transformed from a standard baseball game into a historic theater. Every fan in the stadium stood on their feet, cameras raised, refusing to miss a second. In the top of the 7th inning, the stage was perfectly set. There were 2 runners on base, and the Marlins brought in left-handed reliever Mike Baumann to face the generational icon. Baumann threw a visual challenge, a sharp, breaking ball on an 0-2 count, trying to get Ohtani to chase outside the zone. Ohtani didn't just chase it, he mastered it. With a violent yet beautifully fluid motion, he drove the ball deep to the opposite field. For a second, time seemed to stand still. The ball carried higher and further, drifting over the left field wall and landing squarely in the seats. The stadium erupted into absolute pandemonium. Shohei Ohtani had done it. He had officially founded the 50-50 Club, standing entirely alone in a tier of baseball history that he created by himself. His teammates swarmed the top of the dugout, screaming in disbelief, while the road crowd showered him with a thunderous ovation. Ohtani stepped out for a curtain call, flashing a rare, relieved smile, acknowledging a world that was struggling to process what it had just seen. But the greatest game ever played was not over. Most athletes would have coasted after achieving immortality, letting the emotion of the moment carry them through the rest of the night. Ohtani, however, operates on a completely different psychological plane. In the top of the ninth inning, with the Dodgers leading by an immense margin, the Marlins deployed position player Vidal Brujan to pitch. It was a moment meant to simply run out the clock. Instead, Ohtani treated it like the bottom of the ninth in the World Series. He locked in one final time, swung hard, and sent a towering 440-foot blast deep into the right field stands for his third home run of the afternoon. When the final out was recorded, the scoreboard told a story that looked like a video game glitch. Los Angeles had won 20-4, clinching their 12th consecutive postseason berth. But the true story lay in Ohtani's final stat line: 6 hits in 6 at-bats, 3 home runs, 2 doubles, 2 stolen bases, and a staggering 10 runs batted in, setting a legendary franchise record. He became the first player since at least 1901 to record 5 hits, multiple home runs, and multiple stolen bases in a single game. The aftermath was a mixture of awe and profound respect. Commentators struggled to find the vocabulary to describe what had just transpired. Managers and peers from across the league flooded social media, openly admitting that they were witnessing the greatest individual baseball game ever played. The very stadium where Ohtani had struck out Mike Trout to win the World Baseball Classic just 18 months earlier had once again become the backdrop for his ultimate triumph. We often talk about legends in the past tense, looking back at fuzzy footage and ancient box scores to appreciate the titans of yesterday. But on that warm September afternoon, baseball fans didn't have to imagine greatness. They watched it unfold in real time, hit by hit, steal by steal. Shohei Ohtani didn't just break a record, he redefined the outer limits of human capability, leaving us to wonder if we will ever see anything like him ever again.